There are relics that inspire faith, icons that move men to war, symbols said to hold the power of heaven itself. But then, there are those objects whispered about in secret, relics not placed on altars, but buried, sealed, hidden from the world for a reason. This is the story of one such object. Cross, yes, but not one praised in hymns or carried by saints. This cross was never meant to be found, and when it finally surfaced, during the bloody heat of the Crusades, it brought not salvation, but doom. The records are fragmented, lost in dust and time, mentioned only in the footnotes of obscure monastic writings, and in the terrified testimonies of soldiers who would never return from the Holy Land. They called it Crux Obscura, the hidden cross. Some said it was forged from the very nails used at Golgotha. Others claimed it was a Roman executioner's personal creation, twisted iron and blood-soaked wood, kept as a trophy of death. Whatever its origin, one thing is clear. Every time this cross appeared in the hands of men, disaster followed. The most chilling account comes from the year 1202, during the onset of the Fourth Crusade. The mission had already gone terribly wrong. Instead of liberating Jerusalem, the Crusader army found itself stuck in political chaos, first in Zara, then drawn into the affairs of Byzantium. Among the rank-and-file Crusaders, morale was low. Many believed the campaign had been cursed from the start. And then came the discovery. In the ruins of a forgotten chapel near Constantinople, burned and swallowed by vines, a Templar detachment stumbled upon a crypt beneath the earth. It wasn't marked by Christian symbols. No crosses, no inscriptions. Only a crude iron seal, rusted and cold. Inside, among bones and dust, they found it. A blackened crucifix unlike any other. It had no Christ on it, only strange carvings etched into the wood, symbols older than any known script. The knight who first touched it, Sir Guillaume de Montferrat, reportedly fell unconscious on the spot. When he awoke, his words were feverish. He claimed to have seen visions, fire raining from the sky, the Sea of Galilee turned to blood, a faceless figure nailed to a cross that screamed without end. The other knights dismissed it as sunstroke, but that night 3 of their men vanished. No signs of struggle, no blood, just empty armor and cold swords left in the sand. The relic was taken back to their encampment. Some of the Templars believed it to be sacred. Others whispered it was a test sent by the devil himself. Then the nightmares began. Men waking up screaming, horses refusing to enter the tents where the cross was stored. And the birds, every morning they found dead birds in perfect circles around the relic's box. Yet the leaders refused to destroy it. They were warriors of God after all. What could a mere object do? What happened next was never officially recorded in Crusader chronicles, but appears in the journal of a Venetian scribe who followed the army under disguise. According to him, Guillaume began to change. His speech became cryptic. He no longer prayed. He no longer slept. And he began carving the same symbols found on the cross into his armor, into his skin. One night, he murdered 3 fellow knights in silence. When they entered his tent, they found him kneeling before the cross. Eyes rolled back, whispering in a language no one understood. The Templars attempted to bury the cross again. Deep in the outskirts of Thrace, in a hidden cave used by hermits centuries earlier, they sealed it with fire and stones. But the damage had already been done. Within weeks, their unit was wiped out by an ambush no one had anticipated. The survivors spoke of betrayal from within, that someone had warned the enemy of their movements. Some even accused Guillaume of speaking to the Saracens before his death. But no proof was ever found. Only the fear remained. The relic disappeared once more, or so the church claimed. But across the next century, similar accounts surfaced in unrelated regions. Each time a blackened cross appeared, always with no body on it, always covered in unreadable symbols, always followed by madness, violence, and silence. One such tale comes from Antioch, where a bishop reportedly ordered a relic destroyed after it caused mass hallucinations in his cathedral. Another from Acre, where a Crusader ship vanished at sea after one of its crew smuggled a cursed object onto the vessel. The pattern was too precise to be coincidence. And yet, each time the church distanced itself. declaring the stories to be myths, heresy, or lies. But they never denied the relic's existence. They simply stopped mentioning it. Modern historians call it superstition. They say the stress of war, disease, and fractured alliances explain the hysteria. But a few researchers, especially those with access to restricted Vatican archives, believe otherwise. There's a letter hidden in a forgotten drawer of the Abbey of St. Denis, written in 1254 by a dying monk. He claimed to have seen the cross again, in France, hidden beneath a cathedral, sealed with iron and blessed salt. His final words? It is watching. Perhaps it was never a cross. Perhaps it was never Christian. Perhaps, long before the Church, long before Rome, there were symbols and powers humanity was not meant to understand. And when men of the Crusades dug too deep into ancient lands, perhaps they awoke something that was meant to stay buried. We often speak of relics as tools of faith. But what if some relics are warnings? What if not all things buried in holy ground are holy? The Crux Obscura was not a gift. It was not a test. It was a prison. And the moment it was lifted from the earth, the lock was broken. The Crusaders believed they were fighting for God. But in chasing relics, in looting temples, in tearing through cities older than their scriptures, they may have unearthed something that had no God, only hunger. And maybe that's why it was hidden. Not to protect it from us, but to protect us from it.